Yeah. Oh, no. We most certainly can.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Hey, Mr. Carter. Do you remember Welcome Back, Carter?
I do. My dad used to watch it.
Okay. I used to watch it. That's why.
My dad used to watch it, so I would see it with him.
Am I old?
And then when Mace came out with Welcome Back, which is why I thought he was gonna.
Yeah.
Then my dad was like, "Hey."
Yeah, I'm sure he was.
I kind of like that a little bit. I said,
Oh, he
"Oh,
was
you
into
like
it?
that, huh?
Okay.
Because they took your thing." He said, "I don't like that they took our thing, but it's not bad." I said, "All right."
Welcome Back, Carter was a great show.
That's my dad's show.
And,
He enjoyed it thoroughly. We'd watch it together sometimes.
I was an insomniac, so I was very much into whatever was on Nick at Night. So.
And that was on there.
Yep. I was on there. The Fonz was on there.
Yes.
Mary Tyler Moore.
Yep. This one.
I Dream of Jeannie.
That's right.
Bewitched.
How about them?
Mm-hmm.
About them.
I Dream of Jeannie was always funny. What else did I used to watch? Anything that came on. Oh, The Odd Couple. I could even be persuaded to watch Dick Van Dyke, but that was the one that I probably watched the least because it was black and white. So for me, it was like, I'm going a little bit too deep. And remember, I was a kid. Like, I was young. Black and white didn't.
Welcome back.
The good old days, okay?
And if you didn't feel old watching this pod, now you do.
And this is Let's Have a Real Conversation.
That's this podcast.
With?
You start. It's
No,
alphabetical order.
I was throwing it to you.
You flipping it?
Yeah.
We're going to have to change the whole
No,
intro?
but...
No, I'm just playing.
Mm-hmm.
I am JD, a.k.a. He Who Pods.
And I am Dashing D. And welcome back.
Welcome back. Thanks
To
for
the
being
pod.
here. And there's a lot going on.
Yeah, we're gonna start with, we're gonna get the bad stuff out the way first, and then we'll get to the fun stuff.
I'm going to get the good stuff in while you get us ready.
Yeah, no, we're ready. We're ready. You take your sip.
Sip taken. Let's do it.
You have what you got there? I got a little shandy over here. What you drinking over there?
I have here a lovely, me look in the JD cam. I have here a lovely, extra super ridiculously large mocha iced latte with oat milk.
Ooh, with
That's
oat
mine.
milk too.
That's when I need the extra kick. And I don't want to kick any of the cameras or equipment, so I won't kick, but...
And this is Dunkin' Iced Coffee with lemonade.
Holla.
Anyway, so Jamie Foxx.
All right. So Jamie Foxx has been in the hospital. There have been a lot of different rumors. Exactly.
A lot of different rumors going around about Jamie Foxx.
Yes, thank you, co-host.
You're welcome.
There have been a lot of different rumors circulating about Jamie Foxx. And so finally, a while ago, his daughter came out and made a public statement and basically saying, hey, my dad's in the hospital. Please respect the family's privacy in this private health moment.
Yeah.
That's all we knew. There were blogs speculating all type of craziness. And that's messed up.
Yeah.
But there was an update just the other day, the other day, where Jamie is awake and doing better. That's all we know. And so I am a Jamie Foxx fan.
Love Jamie Foxx.
I think he's great. Super talented. He excels at everything he does. Very funny, very charismatic, very down to earth. And, I'm a big fan of Jamie, and I wanted to make sure that we also send him some love and some healing vibes.
Wishing him well. Wishing him a full recovery.
A speedy one.
Speedy and full complete recovery.
Yes.
Whatever he's going through.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I love Jamie Foxx. I don't have a bad thing to say about him.
Me either. I want him to hurry up and get better so he can make this Mike Tyson movie.
Yeah. The one that's sanctioned?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that like Mike Tyson's actually involved in.
I know, yeah. It's gonna be real different from the show.
I boycotted.
I watched it. I mean, I was just curious. I'm a lover of TV and film. I like to watch the things. So I watched it. I watched it with the understanding that he was not involved with it. And I also watched it with the understanding that some people who might have adverse opinions of the way things played out were involved with it. So I took it for what it was.
Understood.
No, I didn't get on any of the pods and say, hey, Mike Tyson did this or Mike Tyson did that. I try to be responsible with information and sharing information. And yeah, there were some things that were a bit egregious on the show, but he had nothing to do with it. And, when you're that famous and your story is that public, there will be a lot of different interpretations of your story. So
that's true.
I say, you go into it if you're going to watch it, and take it with a grain of salt, and do what I was not. We were young around the time where the big scandal that they highlight happened. So I have no, but we'll leave it alone. We don't have to touch it. But what I was gonna say is that I don't have firsthand knowledge of how it played out. Kind of like with something like the OJ case or whatever. I remember watching it with my parents. I remember the chase. I remember all of that. But in terms of like really understanding, like today I understand that story very, very much so. But not having a firsthand account of it is kind of like, okay, how much do you speak on it when you don't really understand what was happening during that time? So, right. It is what it is. But it's there on Hulu if anybody wants to see it. Moving on from that.
More bad news?
Well, Jonathan Majors. We gotta listen. We said
we'd keep them abreast.
Yeah.
And so,
he's been dropped from some projects.
Well, before that, since our last pod, Jonathan Majors has parted ways with his management and PR teams. And the press is making it clear to say long-time management and PR teams.
Yes. The only person who still seems to be rocking with him is his lawyer. The lawyer that keeps releasing information that doesn't make him look good.
The lawyer that he should get rid of.
Yes.
That's cap, Your Honor.
Yes.
Being serious. He's been dropped, it's unclear whether Jonathan Majors was dropped by his management and PR or whether he left.
No, I don't think it's unclear at all. Majors was reportedly dropped from his management team at Entertainment 360 and his PR team at the lead company.
Right, but reportedly, not confirmed.
Reportedly, but you think he left his PR team and his management? Well, he stepped
down from 2 boards that he was on.
Very different from your management and your PR team, though.
I don't disagree.
Especially
I'm just saying,
in the middle of a crisis. Are you going to drop? I'm just not trying to argue you down. I'm just asking the questions. Are you really going to drop your management team? The team that is supposed to management, PR, your legal team, right? Those are the top 3 that when you are in a crisis,
you need them.
Those are the people you call, especially if you've been with them for a long time.
Right. But what if right now they're not doing good?
Maybe.
What if right now you feel like they're not representing you in the best way.
You think that's what?
I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm saying what if, like the Marvel show.
Yes, like the Marvel show. Maybe. It's possible. But I kind of think that if it was the other way around, we would know that as well. I think so. But I could be wrong. I'm just saying, if his management team did leave him, if his PR team did leave him, they're saying something to us without saying it.
And there's a lot being said. And the next thing to be said is that Variety has reported that there are other women from Jonathan Majors' past working with the Manhattan DA's office to help build a case against him for domestic violence.
Yeah.
And in light of that news,
he's been dropped from multiple
everything.
things.
Well, there's two things he was not dropped from.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what he was dropped from.
Do it.
So, he was dropped from the film adaptation of the Walter Mosley novel, The Man in My Basement. He was dropped from, apparently...
An Otis Redding biopic?
Yep, it was not announced yet, but he was dropped from that. He is still attached to, I know that's what you were trying to get to. He is still currently attached to Marvel. They have not made a decision on...
They haven't said a word.
I think someone did come out, a representative from Marvel did come out and say that they have not made any decisions.
There you go.
Something like that. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
But he is slated, just in case, anybody was wondering what that looks like. He is slated to be in the Avengers, the Kang Dynasty in 2025. He has already filmed Loki season 2. Yep. Those are Marvel's projects. He's still scheduled to be in Spike Lee's The Understudy. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and Lionsgate's 48 Hours in Vegas.
No,
which
that's
is
the one I knew about.
The Dennis Rodman movie we talked about.
Yeah.
He has... They said he mutually decided not to attend with Valentino. He was supposed to wear Valentino and represent their brand at the Met Gala. He will not be doing that. The Met Gala should be coming up in the next couple of weeks. It's usually towards the end of May. Mm-hmm. He had a campaign this year with the Texas Rangers.
Yep.
He is no longer a part of that campaign.
Nope.
He stepped down from the Gotham Film and Media Institute Board and the Sidney Poitier Initiative.
There you go.
Did you know that Sidney Poitier is Guyanese?
I did not.
Look at that. You just learned something today.
I sure did. Thank you for teaching me about your cousin.
Yeah. I have his whole collection of movies.
Holler.
It's the only DVDs I have.
That's beautiful.
And no DVD player.
That's not good.
Fun fact. But anyway, yeah, so just wanted to give an update because we've been keeping up with the story.
Right. Don't
really know what any of this means, right?
It's not looking good.
It doesn't look good.
That's what it means.
And that's what I was trying to say before. If you're dropped from your PR team and your management team, I actually saw a video of a PR girl on TikTok.
I'm about to say you are not on Instagram. Stop it. We know where you get all your reporting from.
And this is not reporting at all. This was just her opinion. But she was saying, I guess people were asking her what her opinion is of the situation and the fact that he had been dropped. And she said from a PR perspective, if your crisis management team leaves you,
there's a big crisis.
That means they've investigated whatever it is and they found evidence and she was like, your crisis management team will not drop the bag. She said he's a multi-million-dollar get for his entertainment, for his management team and his PR team.
Yeah.
And he is on a trajectory to just make them even more money.
Absolutely.
So at the point where someone like that gets dropped, it's because they have done their due diligence and they know that it's not worth it and it's something that they need to take their hands off of. I thought that was really interesting. Again, it's just one person's opinion of the situation, but I can totally understand it, and that's kind of the way I was thinking about it. Was, well, if it is true that he was dropped, what does that mean? Like,
Yeah. It doesn't look good.
you know? So
It does not look good.
I guess we'll see. The lawyer continues to try to defend him.
The term is fumble.
Right, but attempts to defend him, talks about all this evidence that's going to come out.
Well, we ain't seen it.
The text messages that came out, I think we talked about that already, but
Yeah,
they
last
weren't
part.
favorable
No.
for him. It just doesn't seem like there. Actually, the Vulture article that I was just reading, where I got that information from, apparently the lawyer's spouse is acting as crisis PR for him right now because
Interesting.
he has no PR team.
Wow.
So
Not looking good.
yeah, I hate this so much.
Not looking good.
It's not looking good, but that's all we got. I mean,
That's it.
we don't know when this is going to be, when there's going to be some sort of resolution.
Right. As of today, Sunday, April 23rd, that's what we got.
I think May 8th is the court date.
That's really soon.
Yeah.
That's
So,
very interesting.
so we'll see what happens. But yeah. So
Okay.
what's the next one that we need to talk about? So we're gonna get all the bad things out of the way.
There's more bad?
No, not really. I mean, let's talk about the Freaknik doc real quick. That one kind of toes the line. I don't know where that one falls.
I just think it's really funny. So Hulu announced that they're doing the Freaknik doc.
Mm-hmm.
They've been contracted. They reached an agreement with the people from Freaknik, and there will be a Freaknik doc coming next year or 2025, some shit like
I
that.
had no idea that it was
The
so far
internet
away.
has been losing their motherfucking minds.
Yeah.
It is so interesting to see how people are panicking. And man, it is such a trend. I recently saw an Instagram reel where somebody made a rap song about the panic that people have about the doc.
Yeah.
Listen, people were behaving badly on camera.
Right.
And so now it's coming to light. And so, yeah, it's been 20, 30 years. And some people's moms and aunts and grandmas were on tape doing some egregious things. I say, who cares?
That's how I feel.
Those nieces, nephews, sons, daughters, and grandkids are on OnlyFans.
Not only that,
Doing worse things on camera. If we're talking about level of freak,
not
quote
only
unquote.
that, Freaknik was the Black Spring Break, like the premier Black Spring Break
Right.
event, right? The reason why I guess this kind of gets to me is MTV was documenting white people's spring break for years, and they were doing some pretty crazy things.
Yeah, but
Now, I'm not saying that it's the same, and I'm not saying
This
I'm
is
not
more
saying
like-
that they should be compared, because I'll get to why Freaknik, documenting Freaknik on Hulu is problematic in a second. But just at a glance, why does this happen where Black people had their time and now we're gonna get some documentation of them having their time, and everybody is up in arms and scared of what people will think of them. But when white people go and show their asses, nobody says anything.
because black people thought they were doing it in secret.
I guess so.
This is
I
more.
just feel
I think this
like-
is more comparable with Girls Gone Wild.
Sure, I think spring break, the spring breaks that used to be documented on television, was very much on par with Girls Gone Wild.
I guess. Listen, my thing is, Hulu is not HBO or Netflix. this is not going to be the nitty gritty. They're not going to show the stuff that everyone's really worried about anyway.
Well, we don't know what they're going to show.
I don't think.
And
Have you ever seen a Hulu doc where they was really giving it up?
I mean, it depends on what I don't think I've watched a Hulu doc about something specific like this. And the reason I say that we don't know how it's gonna look is because one of the things that I said we will get to is that there is. It's not just that people were drinking and having a good time and wearing no clothes and whatnot and partying and making out with whoever and having sex with whoever or whatever.
That was a lot of whatevers.
Everybody who has talked about either going to Freaknik or having experienced it in some way talks about rape culture and how it's connected to Freaknik. And that's what I think. And a lot of people were even coming out and saying, everybody was talking about how the aunties need to be worried, but what about the uncles? Because some of them uncles were the ones doing the things, grabbing women they shouldn't have been grabbing, raping women they shouldn't have been raping. Like, I wonder if the Freaknik doc is going in that direction rather than it coming out as like a Hulu Black Girls Gone Wild type of situation. It's a documentary, and so it could go in a lot of different directions. They could highlight a lot of different things. I don't know what the plan is. I honestly haven't read up much on it, but like you said, the internet went crazy. So everything I see is like, oh my gosh, I'm so worried. Like, saw a video of a woman talking about like doing she stitched herself. First of all,
I saw that.
Why are you telling on yourself?
The lady with the blonde hair, right?
Yes. She stitched herself in her little Freaknik outfit, and she's like, oh my gosh, I hope I'm not in it. And it's like, I get it. I totally understand. I've gone on spring break. I've also just partied. I think anybody who's partied or been in the clubs or whatever when they were younger, or even now, I guess, probably has done things that they wouldn't necessarily have wanted documented. Yeah. And then to land on streaming platform like Hulu. Right. I totally understand that, and I totally respect that. But I do also see the point of there's some dudes out there who probably should be a lot more worried than the women who are worried about being dressed scantily clad and like drinking and drunk in public and what. Because, that's having a good time. And we could chalk that up to having a good time. But if they're going to get into the seriousness of what Freaknik was,
I don't think Hulu's going to give us the nitty gritty. Hulu's docs are not as in-depth and dark and gritty as like HBO Max does or Netflix does.
And who's this? Do we know who's working with Hulu on that?
No, that's what I'm saying. So I don't think I think people are worried because they have a guilty conscience.
Of course.
And so they're like, oh no, but I had my titties out and I can't, now my kids and my grandkids and my nieces and nephews, they're gonna.
Right.
And so that's the worry. Like that video, didn't she say she had 2 kids and she didn't want them to find out?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. That's the worry. I don't think it's gonna happen though. not at the level that the internet is speaking about it.
I love that. I don't know what the Decider is, but the Decider.com said we can guess that the Freaknik documentary will come out in 2024, possibly even in mid-April 2024. I think it's hilarious that people are speculating about this, when it's going to be released.
Because the internet is up in arms. They're panicking. Really, they're not up in arms. They're panicking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious. I've always heard. I remember hearing about Freaknik when I was younger.
They tried to bring it back a couple years ago.
Yeah, I heard about that.
But it didn't go well.
No, and it wouldn't have. Not a couple years ago.
Right.
Oh, it did return. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying not successfully.
Yeah, and it apparently was supposed to be family friendly when it returned.
Oh, sure. A family friendly Freaknik. That's a mouthful right there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't remember what I was saying. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see. I was just looking to see who else is connected to it. Mm-hmm. Can't figure that out, but I'm curious about it. Not so curious that like I can't wait until next year or the year after or whenever they release it. But and you know what? I wonder, will we ever see it?
The doc?
Yeah.
No, the doc is coming.
You sure?
Yeah, I'll say yes.
I feel like after all of this.
No, that's more reason to put it out.
Yeah, that's also more reason to reframe the story. So I'm just curious how I really want to see how they talk about it. That would be and is it just going to be like Hulu loves to do these docs where it's like these short little 50-minute docs that they like to do. They team up with ABC News and they do these snapshots of things. If it's gonna be like that, then I don't really care for that.
But that's what I'm saying. Now,
give me a 6-part series or something where it's like 40 minutes a piece, and we really get into the things.
Right now,
and show me the good stuff, but also show me the bad stuff.
I was about to say now, if HBO was doing it, it would be like The Vow.
Oh, The Vow was beautifully done.
And then you would get all the nooks and crannies.
What a terrible group of people, but The Vow was beautifully done.
And that's what I'm saying. If HBO did it, or even Netflix got a couple of docs that's like, oh wow, this is what was going on.
Yeah, but I feel like Netflix docs are too long.
All right, well.
Netflix be like, you know what?
I'm not speaking about the length. I'm talking about the quality of the doc.
I know. I'm just saying. Netflix was like, Tiger King, let's do 2 seasons of that.
There's a lot going on with Tiger King and all of those folks.
I don't think I watched season 2, but I did watch season 1 of Tiger King way after the phenomenon. Like, I watched it a couple months ago, and I was like, oh, I see why people were fascinated by this. I also watched, so here's what I did. I don't know how I got here, but what I did was Peacock
has a show
about the people, the actual people, right? They created a drama, and I love a good drama. So I watched the show first, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is based on a true story. This is actually really fascinating. They need to bring it back. I know it was a limited series, but I would love to see a season 2 of that. Anyway, then I was like, I gotta go watch Tiger King now, don't I? Because now I gotta see the real guy. And I watched it, but I just felt it was entirely too long and did not need to go on as long as it did. Like, you could have totally told me what was going on in a lot less episodes, and definitely not a season 2. The drama deserves a season 2.
But there were new developments.
That's fine. Then give me like, you know how when they do some of the shows that Netflix does, they'll do like 6 months later, this is what they're doing, and they give you an hour and they just update you. Yeah, they could have done that and it would have been fine. So good luck to everybody on their future endeavors when it comes to Freaknik.
I concur. Good luck, y'all.
All right.
What else?
Coachella.
Oh, that's just good fun right there.
Coachella.
Where you want to start?
Well,
you want to get right to the shits?
I mean, the big one, of course. Because I don't know anything else about what's happening at Coachella. So, really, all I know is that Frank Ocean was out. Because at this point, Coachella's probably ending as we speak.
Right. Well, Coachella is 2 weekends.
Yes.
And so Frank Ocean was named the headliner.
Sure was.
For both weekends.
Yeah, because that's usually how it goes.
And so Frank Ocean came out 90 minutes late for his performance on weekend 1. There was a huge controversy because he wanted an ice skating rink on the stage. Yes, in the desert.
Okay.
There was supposed to be a beautifully orchestrated, choreographed performance of people ice skating while he's performing.
Why?
That's what he wanted. And so they had to get special permission.
Does he make like ice skating music or something?
I don't know. but we'll get there. And so he demanded and pushed for this rink, and they had to get special permission because it's it's in the desert.
Yeah.
And they brought ice to the desert for Frank. And when it was time to come out, Frank decided, I don't want that shit.
If I had anything to do with the organization of this festival, I would have been pissed, okay? Let me tell you.
But wait, there's more.
Of course.
And so now, what happens to all the choreography that was for the fly-ass skating rink?
And all the people that were supposed to show up and skate.
Well, they had to show up still, but they couldn't skate. But wait.
There's more.
There's more. There's video footage on the internet of people in the stands, the fans, the people who paid tickets to see Frank Ocean, recording his performance when he came out 90 minutes late, upset. Because Frank Ocean did not perform the songs the way he recorded them. He decided to do like rock and roll renditions of some of his classic records.
Okay.
And so the fans were like, what the fuck is this?
Wow. And then, because I know there's more.
But wait, there's more. And so the internet goes and says all of these things about Frank Ocean. And Coachella is trying to figure out what the hell to do because people are upset. And then just the other day, it comes out that Frank Ocean has decided he's not doing Coachella weekend 2 because he sprained his ankle and has fractures in his legs.
Yes, I read that.
And Coachella said, yes, this is true. He will not be performing. We will be replacing him with, that's right, you guessed it.
No, you didn't guess it. You absolutely did not guess it. Okay? That's cap, Your Honor.
Your Honor. I'm just saying because that's cap, Your Honor. They replaced Frank Ocean with Blink 182.
And Friends, because it was Skrillex.
Oh, Skrillex?
Yeah.
I like Skrillex.
Skrillex.
It's like something nobody knows. Skrillex got some like really interesting collabs with hip hop and R&B people.
I'm gonna find it.
But the point is Blink 182, y'all. Blink 182. And let me be clear, I'm not dissing Blink 182.
Nah, what's my age again?
Blink 182 has huge records. And so do they fit the mold of what Coachella gives fans? Yes. But if you bought a ticket to see Frank Ocean and he was no longer performing, you would think in your mind that they would replace Frank Ocean with someone with a similar demographic of fans.
Yeah, and I just want to, just so we have it here, Blink 182 along with Skrillex, Fortet, and Fred again. I don't know. After Skrillex, I don't know any of those people, and that's fine. Because, like you said, different audiences, and it's okay.
But is it?
No.
Because that's my thing. My thing is, do they fit the mold of a Coachella headliner or performer? Yes, they do.
Yeah.
But if you bought your ticket to see Frank motherfucking Ocean, and all of a sudden he was hurt and couldn't come back, and now you had to sit there, stand there, whatever, and watch Blink 182, I don't think you'd be very happy.
I just want to point out, general admission passes for Coachella.
Oh, an arm.
$549.
An arm.
If you want to purchase it with shuttle service, it's $599. If you want the VIP experience, it is $1,069. And this makes sure to tell you, don't forget to factor in additional fees when budgeting for your festival experience, because this is just for the festival. If you're going to the Coachella Festival, you also have to figure out your lodging.
And your food.
And your food.
And your beverages.
Because essentially, like when people go out there and they're there for both weekends, you are there for both weekends. And there's days in between those weekends. So people spend, the point I'm trying to make is that people spend a lot of money to attend Coachella.
Yes.
And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that, yes, I'm sure there's a bunch of people who go to Coachella not necessarily for who the headliner is.
Just for the experience.
But just for the experience of going to Coachella. And that's fine. But I'm also sure that there are plenty of people that determine whether they're going to go based on the headliner.
Yeah.
And I would be pissed
if it said Dashing D, and then when you went,
it was some white woman.
Cut! Thank you for being here. This was Let's Have a Real Conversation podcast, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks. Nah, I'm just kidding. Just playing.
That's it. That was done.
You guys. You're right. Next topic.
Yeah.
We're gonna leave that one right there.
Okay. That's fine by me.
This nigga said crash into a ditch.
Not
just
playing.
Oh, god damn. You just.
So, speaking of festivals.
Dreamville. No, I'm just playing. We did that already. Just kidding.
Why
just
are you trying to take over?
It was a joke,
You were
man.
trying to hijack.
Class participation, you know?
Oh, okay.
I'll raise my hand next time. Don't worry.
Summer Jam. Let's talk Summer Jam.
Oh, boy. I'm going to get in trouble here. Okay.
Why are you going to get into trouble?
I think Summer Jam is pandering.
To women?
Yes.
I got to look at
So
the
Summer
lineup.
Jam is in New York for the first time officially in a very long time. I believe ever, but I could be wrong. Mm-hmm. But Summer Jam is actually not anywhere that people thought it would be. People speculated it would be in Madison Square Garden. Uh-huh. It's not. People speculated it would be in the Barclays Center. Uh-huh. It's not. People speculated it would be in Mets Stadium, which has a different name, Citi Field.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Hasn't it been at Citi Field before?
I don't know.
I think
that's what I'm saying.
I think yeah.
But it's at some like random Long Island amphitheater or something.
UBS Arena in Elmont, New York.
There you go.
On June 4th.
And so
2 days after the best day of the year.
Nah, I'm just kidding.
It's fine. You can keep it moving.
Just playing.
I mean, if they don't know, it's only the privileged. Anyway, that's
only the privileged. Anyway, so when they announced Summer Jam, they announced some of the people who would be performing. Yes. And so today there may be more information. But when they first announced Summer Jam...
This list looks short to me.
Right. And so the list was all ladies. All femces.
Oh, there's men here too.
Well, when the list was announced, it was a lot of women. And I'm never mad at a lot of women being there. Mm-hmm. But I just thought that was really interesting that all of the people announced when they first announced Summer Jam, it was all women. I said, huh, that's kind of interesting, no?
I mean, I hear you. The only reason I don't necessarily agree with it
Who
being
the headliners?
pandering. Wait.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
The only reason I'm not calling it pandering is because these are the women who are, except for the headliner, the rest of the women that I see listed here are all very popular right now. Mm-hmm. So, and I would argue that right now they're more popular than the men that are listed here.
That's kind of my point.
So, but how is it pandering if that's just a fact?
Because Summer Jam is not only for who's popular right now, one. And 2, Summer Jam can get anybody they fucking want, pretty much.
Okay.
To come and perform. Maybe not the top. Like, you might not see Jay, Beyonce, The Weeknd, and Drake there. But other than that, anybody in hip hop and R&B could be at Summer Jam, and has been.
Okay. Well, just to give context, so the headliner is Cardi B,
who has no music out right now.
Well, that's why I said except for the headliner.
And I'm not hating. I'm telling them. Because we put clips out, and I know what's going to happen when we put these clips out. And so I'm not hating on Cardi B. I'm just saying I think it's really interesting. I think it's a marketing ploy. I think Hot 97 sees that women are dominating right now and was like, hey, then let's just get every woman we can to come be a performer at Summer Jam.
Okay.
I think it's smart marketing. I think it's a good business move, but I think it's pandering because when have they done that before?
I mean, I don't know. To be honest, I don't keep it with Summer Jam. Summer Jam is like one of those things that I hear about after it happens.
Got it.
So I don't know how it normally looks, what the lineup normally looks like. To me, when I looked at it, when I pulled it up, I'm like, oh, okay. These are the girls that are it right now. These are the ones that are
hot in the streets,
making a lot of waves right now.
Yeah.
So I could see, I mean, there's men listed here. So you're saying that none of these men were listed before. I would argue that maybe, or I would ask, because I don't have an argument one way or another, but I would ask, is it just that because they are the most popular out of the bunch, is that why their names got released first? And if there was a guy or guys who were just as popular as they are right now, would their names have been released first?
Good question.
Because, I mean, that would be my question here. I understand what you're saying, but I'm just wondering if that's just how it ended up shaking out.
Got you.
But I don't know. So here's the list so far. Cardi B is the headliner. And then there's Ice Spice, Coi Leray, Glorilla, Lola Brooke, French Montana, Fivio Foreign, Lil TJ, and then celebrating 50 years of hip hop with the Locks. So to me that looks short for Summer Jam, but I'm assuming they're gonna add more names to that list, or there will be more people that come out with the people who are. I think that's how it usually goes, right? Like they have the main people that have their sets, and then they bring out a bunch of people with them.
It's become popular to do that, yes.
Okay, so I mean, this doesn't look like something that I would enjoy, but I hope everybody has.
Coi Leray is your girl, so.
Is she?
You be singing her little TikTok. I shouldn't say little because it's a smash, but she owns TikTok. You live on TikTok.
I mean, it's a TikTok sound, but
it's a hit record.
Right, but I don't listen to the record.
Oh, I thought maybe you did.
No.
All right, my bad.
But good for the girls, good for the guys.
I think, yeah. Again, I think the women should get all the money. I keep saying it. Every time I get a chance, I'll say it again. I think the women are doing an excellent job. They should get all the money they can, all the spotlight, the love, the accolades. They should get all of it. They work hard. They deserve it. I'm not hating at all. I just thought it was really interesting because I've never seen anything like that from Summer Jam.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you. But, I hope that everybody has a fun and safe time at Summer Jam when it comes up.
Right.
Whenever I see videos of Summer Jam, I'm like, it looks like If you are a certain age, you probably have a very good time there.
I think that's the aim.
Yeah. So, I hope everybody has a good time.
Word.
What
else?
What else we gotta get to while we're on music? So Universal Music, they have streaming sites to block AI companies from accessing their songs.
Yep. Thoughts?
A lot of people are really getting tapped into this AI thing.
Yep.
Or rather, I should say AI is getting tapped into us.
Yep.
I'm not mad at it.
You're not mad at what? You're not mad at AI having access to the music?
I'm not mad at Universal asking streaming sites to block AI.
Tell me more.
I guess I don't know. I think that the machines are like, how when computers first became a thing, like really became mainstream, and people were like, oh my gosh, computers are going to take over the world, and like robots are going to, by the year 2000, robots are going to be running the world, and like, the rest of us will just cease to exist or cease to matter. Something about this AI stuff that's coming out feels very much like that for me. Everything is attached to AI these days, and I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about it. I know I have bits and pieces of information, but I think it's almost like separation of church and state. Like, if Instagram can block bots,
they don't.
I'm just saying they can.
Okay.
If they want to, right?
They have the ability.
Or whoever, doesn't have to be Instagram, but if those types of companies, social media companies, can block bots, why can't? I mean, what is the AI doing? Maybe you have more information on this. What is AI doing that is so bad for Universal? Maybe we should start there.
Well, there are different ways to look at it. Mm-hmm. One is, if the AI can study the music, mm-hmm. it can learn to reproduce the music, which there are tons of examples of already. There's already examples of AI Jay-Z, AI Rihanna, mm-hmm. AI Metro Boomin Beats, AI The Weeknd songs, AI Drake songs.
Oh, so yeah, no.
And so, hold on, let me answer.
So
from a business standpoint, if the AI can listen to the music and learn the music, mm-hmm. then it can mass produce the music, which means that Universal, from a business standpoint, would be losing money, because if you can set up your computer to create the new Rihanna song, what do we need Rihanna for? Let me flip that. I'm saying it wrong.
No,
if your computer can make the latest, greatest Rihanna song, how do we make money from Rihanna now?
Right.
Or any artist, right? If Universal Music Group is trying to push a new artist with a specific sound, let's say the hottest drill rapper mm-hmm. that just came from Brooklyn, right? Mm-hmm. But the AI has studied all of the drill rappers and has better songs or bigger hits. Now what?
Right.
Because they've learned your sound, timing, formula, cadence. Mm-hmm. So that's one aspect.
Okay.
The other aspect is, mm-hmm. because you said bots, and bots are technically a form of AI.
I mean, yeah. I figured, as I was saying it, I figured it was pretty much the same thing.
If bots can access the music, they can play the music for other people, mm-hmm. and create bigger, more powerful streaming farms. Okay. For those who don't know what a streaming farm is, a streaming farm is when you, or I should say, an artist or a label, because depending on what resources you have, you can do this in different ways. When your music is being played and no people are pressing buttons, things are just playing over and over and over again, however you see fit. And so again, from a business standpoint, if artist A can have different AI programs or different computers, tablets, whatever, playing their music and they're nowhere to be found, or let's just say there's 3 people in a huge, what they call them now, content house. If there are 3 quote unquote staff members in a content house controlling a full room of devices that are streaming, Universal Music Group, from a business standpoint, would be losing money because this artist or label would be getting tons and tons of streams.
Gotcha. As
opposed to their artists. And so, same example of them trying to push the new drill artist, but Dash Indy is a drill artist, and me and our good buddy Chris with a K are manning, quote unquote, an entire room full of AI devices. Now you got the #1 hit this week on whatever streaming app, as opposed to Universal Music Group's new drill artist that we just made up.
Well, and if that's the case, then from a business standpoint, I agree with Universal Music Group. Now, we could talk about how problematic the music industry is.
That's why I made sure I said.
And how problematic record labels are, right? But a business is a business, right? And the purpose of the people in charge of a business is to protect the assets of the business and also grow revenue. So from a business standpoint, from a revenue standpoint, no, fuck that. Make them go away. Now, if we want to talk about how predatory the music industry is,
that's another pod.
That's a different conversation. I want to make it clear. I'm not someone who supports the labels, but I am someone who works in advertising. So from a business standpoint, nah, fuck that. That's not helpful to the bottom line.
Well, there you go.
No, and I feel very confident in saying that.
I see.
No. If I'm executive vice president at a record label and I know that this is potentially a problem, or first of all, part of your job too is like trying to get ahead of things before they become real problems.
Yep.
No, block it. If there's a way to block it, if I gotta pay to block it, if it's cheaper for me to pay to block it than to have it become a problem 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, let's just block it and get it over with. Yeah, absolutely. What do you think?
I think it's super interesting. I think #1, it's very interesting, and they've got a lot of privilege to be able to hit up the streaming sites and say, hey, homie, can you do me a favor? This AI shit is getting problematic. Can you just block them from having access to all our shit? Thanks. See you Friday for golf.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I think. The second thing I think is that they are trying to do what you're saying and recognize problems before they become bigger, unmanageable problems. And so AI is learning at a very quick rate. If you listen to AI created songs from 6 months ago, they sound more robotic and less smooth than they do today.
Okay.
There is a pack of Rihanna songs that are AI generated. They basically took hit records from other people and had the AI sing it in Rihanna's voice. There's like 10 songs that are hits from other people.
Interesting.
Some of them sound a lot like Rihanna. And so they are recognizing that, hey, this shit is learning really fast. This could fuck up our bottom line. This could fuck up our money. And so they're trying to get ahead of it. You're correct. What do I think? I think Universal Music Group is one of the biggest labels. in the music business. It's arguably the biggest label in the music business. I think that they are trying to nip it in the butt now before things get out of hand with the AI and the way that it is learning and generating music/content. I think that they are fearful of what AI can possibly do because of the rapid rate that AI is learning and generating this new content. I don't have a strong stance on whether they should be able to block access or not. I am a buck the system kind of person. And so if we can get Dashing D's single to be the #1 song on the streaming sites, bringing more attention to Dashing D as opposed to whoever's backed by millions of dollars. I'm sorry, Plant. Whoever's being backed by the millions of dollars at Universal, I'm for that. I'm for that. If we can, even if it's not Dashing D, if it's, your sister, you know what I mean? Like whoever, if it's somebody that's within our reach, then yeah, I want to be able to help them succeed. And if using AI does that, I'm not against that at all. But I also understand the business aspect of Universal and what they are trying to protect as a conglomerate. Because, it's kind of wild to even think this, but who knows, 5 years from now, there could be no Universal Music Group if AI is able to do all of these things.
But here's I guess where my confusion is. This AI stuff, there's an actual person attached to it? Because you just said if it helps an artist.
Well, I gave 2 examples. So I gave the example of the AI being able to create songs as whatever artist, right, that you program it to be. The same people we just named a little while ago. It could be Jay-Z, Drake, Weeknd, whoever. Then the second example I gave is an independent artist or label trying to flourish and spread the word, etc. 2 different uses for AI.
Right. So those people are not actually taking music that Universal
sells,
released.
No.
And right. Okay. So
I
agree
but we're talking about the bottom line, right? So one of the ways that Universal Music Group thrives, right, is by getting their artist songs to the top of the charts, which then also helps them, because this is another deal they have, it also helps playlist placements. Today, a lot of artists who are not the top 10 artists, they rely on playlist placements. If you're losing those playlist placements to AI generated songs, this now affects the artist. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So the artist doesn't get played, which means the artist doesn't get playlist placement. 2 different ways that Universal Music Group has lost money.
But I guess my question is, this thing that we're specifically speaking about with them trying to block AI companies from accessing their songs, that doesn't necessarily affect an independent artist.
But it could. That's what I'm saying. We don't know that to be true. Because you could, so let's say, same example from before. You're the new drill artist, right? I own, this is an example, I own an AI company. And I come to you and say, hey, I saw you at a show the other night in Brooklyn. You did a great job. But I looked up your streams. You have very low numbers. My company can get you to 1 million streams by tomorrow for X amount of money. See how I just changed the game?
Right.
You give me X amount of money, and now I go up there and access the song, and I'm doing all the things I just said. So now your song is #1. You've got 1 million streams in 24 hours. Whoever artist that, same example, the new drill artist that Universal Music Group is trying to push, they're not getting those streams. They're losing playlist placements because you're getting the streams and you're gaining the placements.
Okay.
And so now let's tie it into Summer Jam. When it's time to start booking artists, Universal Music Group can't get their artists booked for Summer Jam because now everyone's looking for Dashing D's drill song to be performed at Summer Jam.
Gotcha. Oh, I mean,
It gets sticky.
it does. It does. But unfortunately, the the things that we won't talk about when it comes to the music industry right now is that those are the same things that kind of created this push and pull between like independent artists versus the artists at the big labels and being on the streaming sites and all of that. And it's almost like it'll continue to be a vicious circle anyway. Like,
Well, arguably, AI could change that. Because the things that an independent artist does not have access to, they could gain access to through the AI.
Yeah, no, I get that.
And so that's why I don't have a clear stance. I think it's really interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see how this goes as things continue.
Yeah, and I'm open to learning more. I again, like I said, I don't know a whole lot about AI, and I feel like it's coming at us from a lot of different angles. It's not just music. It's not just social media. I saw someone the other day say that they're using AI to create their resume. I was like, okay.
You can have the AI write your essay right now.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah.
There's a Gary Vee video where someone asks him, "Hey, how do you think AI is going to?" They were asking him about AI versus journalism. I don't remember the exact question, but I guess the question was basically, does he think AI is going to hurt journalists? And he said no. And so he gave an example of how a journalist could put a prompt in ChatGPT and say, I want an article about all of these things, right? And say how long you want the article, the style of writing you want the article, the tone you want the article, and then the article is done. And now your article is done in minutes, and you can still have a creative portion by editing, proofreading, adding your pieces to it, and adding further sources that perhaps the AI didn't know.
Right. Yeah.
The same way we sit here and say, oh yeah, in 96, Jay-Z said this. Oh, Monica had a hit record called blah, blah, blah. All these little teeny tiny details that may not come up for the chat GPT or the AI.
Yeah.
That's when you insert your piece. He said, so you could arguably have an award-winning article that was mostly done by AI.
I get that. That makes sense. Any last thoughts on that? Because I don't have any more.
No, I think we did quite enough on that one. I didn't expect that to be such a long topic, but that was fun.
Yeah. So you have something on the list, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's about. Designer.
Oh.
I mean, I know who it is, but
so Designer is suffering from mental health issues.
oh, you know what? I did see this.
Designer checked himself into a mental health facility overseas. I forgot where. And he was there for a little while, and then it was time to come home. And so he was struggling with things still, and got on the plane, and he exposed himself on the plane.
I did see this. Yeah.
You saw Designers?
No.
Oh, I'm about to say, you was on the OnlyFans?
I did see the story, though.
Oh, okay. I'm just about to say, I don't know if we was looking at the same footage then. But, so Designer exposed himself on the plane, and he's saying like, hey, forgive me. I'm not there. I'm not where I need to be mentally. Mental health matters. He's canceled all his tours, all his hostings, anything public he has to do until further notice, because he said that he is trying to get his mental health in order. And so I thought that was really interesting and sad simultaneously.
Yeah.
But I also do want to applaud him, not for exposing himself,
For getting help.
but for getting help, because often we are struggling with things internally, and we do not have the tools to repair these things ourselves, and then we don't reach out for external help. And so he is doing that, and he's being responsible by canceling these things so further incidents do not happen. I have no idea what made him expose himself on a plane. That is unfortunate and inappropriate.
Right.
But I do want to applaud him for getting the help that he needs and saying, hey, listen, I got to get my shit together before I could go do public appearances.
I agree. I hope that he gets all the help he needs, and I hope that he finds peace and is able to move forward.
Yeah.
Obviously, no, I agree with you. I don't condone what he did, but I think the fact that he was already seeking help and then this incident happened, I think it points to the fact that typically your mental health journey is not just something that happens and then you move on from it. It's something that you have to continue to work on and continue to maintain. So, you know, the fact that he is trying to get back on track and figure out maybe why he felt the need to do this, or however it played out, I think is important. And I guess to anyone who actually had to experience that, I hope those people are okay, because that's not really, I don't know exactly how it went down, and honestly I didn't really try to find that information.
How it went down is funny.
Yeah. But I'm sure for some people that was not, or maybe even all the people that experienced it, it was not pleasant for them to experience. So, you know, also want to acknowledge them as well. But yeah, something a little bit more, not more, but a little different. We got a lot of music stuff today. Okay. Jim Jones and Pusha T. Now, it is my understanding, and I'm gonna send this one to you because you know more about it. But what I will say is, it is my understanding that Jim Jones has been out in the streets, aka the Breakfast Club and wherever else, shitting on Pusha T. Now, the thing that is unclear to me is what the beef is and like why there is a beef. I don't particularly care. Like, I'm gonna assume that Pusha T does not have a beef with Jim Jones. Well, maybe now he does, but I'm gonna assume he doesn't because this seems to be new. But you give me more context because I don't know a whole lot about it. I've kind of been seeing things about it, but I haven't really been keeping up with it. And I just found it really bizarre. Those are two people that I wouldn't have ever... If you told me Jim Jones had beef with somebody, I wouldn't think that it would be Pusha T. I don't see where they cross paths, but that's... maybe I'm wrong about that.
So what's interesting is it seems like this started because of the hip hop lists that were put out recently.
Oh gosh.
And so
they gotta stay away from those lists, okay?
Well, this is why the lists keep happening, right? Because they create this type of dialogue and controversy. Now, this is not known to be a fact. Okay. But it seems like this is where it has begun. Okay. Now, there are rumors, speculation, that this has nothing to do with the list, and the list is a Jedi mind trick. In other words, Jim Jones is saying shit about the list, but really he just want to speak about Pusha T. And so, first I'll tell you what happened, and then I'll tell you the speculation. Quickly. Jim Jones basically said that Pusha T does not belong where he is on the list. In fact, he don't think Pusha T should be on any list.
Oh, because I was just about to say which list.
It was the Rolling Stone stuff.
Okay. Well, why would anybody take
Well, a lot of people remember Rolling Stone put out
I know.
their 50.
I know, but the
And
issue.
since then, a lot of people have felt that other people were higher or lower, and people should be on the list who. There were people who shouldn't be on the list who were there. There are people who are on the list but are on very wrong spots. It's created a lot of speculation.
Remind me, was the Rolling Stone list a hip hop list specifically?
Yes. It was the 50
Why?
best rappers of all time. And they gave their criteria, which was interesting. And they included all types of stuff.
I remember this, but why Rolling Stone? Like, why are we...
Was it Rolling Stone or Billboard? It might have been Billboard. Whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is, this list has created contention. There's also a ton of videos of... Is it Big Daddy Kane? I can't remember which old school rapper it is, but there's a hip hop pioneer, if you will, who's been very public saying like, "Oh, I should be higher than this person. This person should be way lower than me." Matter of fact, I don't even y'all like his albums? This guy had never even had good albums. He only made good singles. There's a lot of hate going on.
I mean, and I like the spirited discussions, right? I think that there is historically there has been competition in hip hop, right? So
Sure.
I think that it's okay to have healthy conversations about, well, where would you place this and where would you place this and how do you rank this and how do you rank that? I say it all the time. I don't necessarily care for the comparisons, but I think when it comes to hip hop, I think it is interesting to have these conversations. But they got to realize, like, grain of salt. Like, you can have the conversations and you can, we can bounce these things off of one another, but it seemed like Jim Jones is taking it real serious.
Yes. And so it seems
And
like...
Jim Jones got hands.
But see, Push is not interested in that.
I don't think he is, but I'm just saying.
And I don't think Push is against hands either, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
But he basically went from saying Push was in the wrong slot to then, nobody asked him this, but he then started breaking down like record sales, longevity, the type of stuff he raps about, how it's copy and paste every song.
Was it the Breakfast Club where he said he asked them to
Name five or three songs of Pusha T.
I think it was 5 Pusha T songs.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
But see, this is the thing. And so he's done this in more than one place, these public critiques.
Is he promoting love and hip hop? Like, what's going on here?
I don't know, but what I will say is, I like Jim Jones.
I've never had a problem with Jim Jones.
And I think he makes I think as an artist, Jim Jones has shown us, if you pay attention, how you can go from the guy who doesn't rap to being arguably the best rapper in your group. Jim Jones puts out quality music. And so I have nothing bad to say about him musically. Mm-hmm. But Push is a different kind of guy. And many are on record stating that Push beat Drake in the battle. Mm-hmm. And that's where we get to speculation. Because it seems to be really weird timing that, and this is not me, this is coming from other public places. Mm-hmm. If you pay attention to when these comments started about Pusha T from Jim Jones, it was after Drake brought out Dipset at his Apollo New York Harlem performance.
So because friends of Drake.
I'm sorry, what? Friends of Drake what?
So because they're friends of Drake, that's why this is happening?
That is the speculation.
Does he put people up to this, or do they just do it on their own?
I don't know. Let me call Drake. Let's take a break. I had to do it.
I'm just the only.
But this is the speculation
because
I don't know this to be fact. Jim Jones has not said I'm doing this for Drake. He has not said.
But I'm only asking that because I feel like this is not the first time that has happened where people have been like, oh, but that person is friends with Drake, so it makes sense why they're kind of shady to this other person. It's like, is Drake, I'm going to pose a question. Is Drake having other rappers do his bidding for him?
I don't know.
Like, what are those conversations like? Because the people who fuck with Drake don't ever seem to have a problem to fuck with the people that Drake doesn't like or Drake has a beef with. That is really interesting to me. Now, I don't know. Like you said, that's speculation. We don't know for sure, but it's pretty damn on the nose for me in terms of the timing of it all.
It's weird timing.
I mean,
gotta call. Listen, you gotta call a spade a spade.
But why are you running around? Why are you running around New York City like Drake's bodyguard though?
Okay, so here's what I will say. And now this is where I'm
like
probably,
I said, I love Jim Jones. I don't want him running up on me.
But this is where I'm probably gonna get in trouble, and I'm ready for it's okay.
Okay.
Jim Jones should not continue to say public things about Pusha T. Because if a rap battle ensues, Jim Jones will not defeat Pusha T, in my opinion. I truly believe Pusha T will have Jim Jones take a nap.
You think you're gonna put him to sleep?
I don't think Jim Jones is battle tested. Who has Jim Jones battled?
I don't know. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just asking.
I mean, throwing shots at Jay-Z years ago is cool, but that's not really a battle. And Push battles.
Yeah, I don't really see it as a competition.
Push is good at it, and not only that, but Push is foul.
Oh yeah,
Push will give
get
you.
Personal.
Not only will he get personal, I was gonna save that for last. Yes, he will get personal, but not only will it be a whole song dedicated to you, but that entire project is gonna be a bunch of jabs thrown at you all throughout the project.
Yeah.
I mean, the man writes diss records for Arby's.
Yeah. Listen, I don't know.
Tread softly, Jim.
I don't know.
Tread softly.
I don't know.
I don't think he would last.
Did you just publicly tell Jim Jones to tread softly?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Don't
I
let
know
him
you
find
spoke
you in
about. I don't go to Harlem, but I'm not afraid to go to Harlem and have a conversation. I mean, nothing wrong with the talk.
Oh.
You know, Jim Jones, if you'd like to do an interview, we can discuss this. We'll come to Harlem and sit in a public space with you.
He don't care nothing about that.
I'm just saying, if you want to talk about it, we can do it.
in a
We can do it
public
right here on the Let's Have a Real Conversation podcast.
Not in my
I
house.
said we'll go to Harlem.
Oh yeah, no, I'm good with going to Harlem. We go, sit somewhere.
That's what I just said.
Go sit somewhere black owned.
It gotta be in Harlem.
One of his favorite spots.
No, I don't want it to be at one of his favorite spots.
Okay.
Because all his friends may be there.
I know. I think his friends gonna be there regardless. I think we're in danger regardless. Okay.
It'll be fine. It's New York. Just a couple New Yorkers having a conversation.
Yeah, and everybody's waiting in the wings for us to say some shit that we're not supposed to say.
Good journalists, good podcasters speak candidly.
Of course.
I just think
I'm not saying that we would be censoring ourselves. I'm just saying
people will be waiting.
I always have my mace in my pocket. I'll say that.
There'll be a mace around. But real quick before we switch topics, I do hope this does not become physical. Because I know we joked when we started the topic saying Jim don't got a problem using his hands and neither does Pusha T. But I hope this stays to rap.
Yeah, I hope so.
I don't want to see any violence because I'm fans of both these guys. Both these guys seem to be very good guys. Publicly, they do stuff for their community and different things. When you see them speak, they don't seem like knuckleheads. I know they talk good in their raps about the things they do and how they stand up for themselves and gangster shit. But you could tell they're good dudes who also just make quality music, and I wouldn't want that to stop from either party. So I hope it does not become violent.
I hope not. I wouldn't want to see that.
Me either.
You know what else I didn't see?
Uh-oh. What didn't you see?
The Little Richard doc.
Oh, man. I missed it, too. I went on the AMC app one day. I was like, I haven't been to the movies in a couple days.
All right.
Let me see what's out. And there was a Little Richard doc that spoke about how he was, it's his career, but it was also to speak about his involvement in the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah, I had seen a trailer for it.
I didn't even see a trailer. That's
Yeah.
interesting. So I want to find it. I don't really have much knowledge. I didn't get to see it. I figured I had time. I'm like, oh, Little Richard is a cultural phenomenon, a legend. And then once you start adding the LGBTQ plus pieces,
Really
I'm like,
interesting.
oh, this is interesting. It's a doc. Docs don't go in theaters very often, like on
Right.
that scale. So I was like, oh, it'd probably be out for a hot minute. That shit was gone like 3 days later. I was like, God damn.
That's crazy. I would have liked to see that.
Yeah, so I want to try to find it on the streaming apps or somewhere.
I'm
Sure,
sure
you
it'll be
could.
somewhere.
Yeah, you probably rent it one of the apps.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was worth mentioning.
No, definitely. Definitely. I gotta look for that too. You know what I did see?
I know. Go ahead.
I just want to point out that there was no weekly dash the last 2 weeks.
Well, you did one.
Well, I did one, but then, there was no weekly dash because I've been in mourning. Okay? Because I was devastated and I didn't know how to deal with my emotions. And I felt that it was best to just stay quiet until we came together so we could talk about it.
Talk about what?
I guess I have to say, spoiler alert. Spoilers. This is our last topic, so if you don't want any spoilers,
4.
I'm getting to it.
All right, player, my
If
bad.
you don't want any spoilers, this is the time to go. You're not missing anything else. This is
Perfect timing.
This is it. Succession. Episodes 3, 4, and 5. We have seen all 3. So especially if you did not watch the episode that was just released,
Right. Episode 5.
episode 5, you might want to skip this conversation until you watch that.
Right. You might want to. So if you have not seen episodes 3, 4, and 5 of Succession season 4, you should end the pod here. We thank you for being here.
Go watch Succession and then you can come back and finish the episode. Listen, I mean,
Even better.
yes. So,
Talk to him.
but episode 3 is the reason why I was devastated. Okay? So we got to start there cuz that's
the big one.
Logan's gone.
Logan's gone. Finally. I've been waiting. I've been holding this in till we potted.
Logan is gone, okay? And here's the thing, right? Because we just talked about, 2 weeks ago, we talked about how the show is called Succession. I even predicted that Logan would die this season. I even said, I think by the end, he's going to die. We're going to find out who succeeds him.
You did.
That is absolutely going to happen.
Yep.
What I did not have on my bingo card was episode 3.
Not on your bingo card.
Episode 3. Not only was it in episode 3,
Yep.
the kids were not anywhere around him.
Yep.
He essentially died with his mistress and what did they call it? What did they refer to them as? The emperor?
Although
Damn it.
they're the old guard.
The old guard. Yeah. And Tom.
And Tom.
Who's always up in the mix now because he was becoming Logan's pet. I did not expect him to die in episode 3.
I don't think anyone expected him to die in episode 3.
I was watching it and I thought it was a dream sequence.
Oh, not me.
I thought it was a dream sequence. I was like, whose dream is this?
Although, they did do a great job of making it mysterious. Because you
Very mysterious.
You saw the chest compressions, but it looked just like it does on the main camera right now. You couldn't really see, what
his
was
face
happening.
For a long time. You could not.
Even though they were saying it, it was like, is this the old guard trying to pull a trick?
I thought it was a trick.
Is this like another test? This Logan fucking with people? You didn't really know for a hot minute.
Tom kept calling the kids and he was like, okay, I'm going to put the phone up to his ear so he can hear you. We don't know if he can hear you, but talk to him. And they're like what the fuck?
Right.
And then, so they start doing it because they're freaked out. They're like, wait, is this real? And when they realize that it is absolutely real, they start doing that. They're like, okay, put the phone back to his ear. Let's talk to him.
Right.
But also, like, what? They did chest compressions on him for 30 minutes.
I may think it was longer. Oh, you mean in the show for 30 minutes?
Yeah, because you're supposed to try to keep the heart going.
Yeah, until medical help arrives.
Until medical attention arrives. So that's what they did. He was on the jet.
Going to Switzerland.
Going to Switzerland, and the kids to finalize the deal, and which we will get to. And the kids were on the boat because it was Connor's wedding.
Yeah.
So he was supposed to go to Switzerland and then make it back in time for the wedding.
Allegedly, but that's not what his plan was.
Right. Because, as Connor stated, he didn't really love Connor.
Right.
So
Exactly.
Connor was like, well, Dad didn't love me.
Right.
And they all kind of looked at him like...
Connor was like, in fact, I don't even know what love is.
As I get ready to get married to this woman who is here for my money. And then has the nerve to ask her, if anything pissed me off was when Connor was like, Willa, are you marrying me for money? Connor, this is an arrangement that you arranged.
Right.
You need a wife because you want to be a politician.
Yep.
And Willa just wants to make like theater and spend money.
Yep. And that's what's going on.
And he got the nerve to ask her, are you with me for my money? Connor.
Because sometimes when you lie to yourself too much, you start believing the lie.
Connor is a buffoon.
Absolutely.
For so many different reasons. I mean, listen,
Absolutely.
sorry to that man that Daddy didn't love him. No one wants that. But outside of that, he's kind of a buffoon, and it's actually funny to watch him like fumble around. He moves about the world very clumsily, and it's almost like you get secondhand embarrassment watching Connor.
Oh yeah, totally. Him and Greg. Even though Greg... In different ways.
Yeah, and Greg is a lot easier to stomach because Greg is like the comedy of the show in a lot of ways. Him and Rome.
Yeah.
I love Rome. I think Rome is the most witty person on the show.
Oh, absolutely.
He makes these offhanded comments
Love
that
it.
are just...
Love it.
I'm always laughing when Rome is on the screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the kids react. I'm talking about you talk. You.
No, go ahead. Get your shit on.
No. Go ahead. I can jump in after.
Well, you were shocked when I said finally. But, I mean, the show started with him damn near dying.
This is true. I agree
And
with
so
that.
it was about damn time that Logan Roy died. I think, as we said last pod, this is excellent writing.
Great writing. The best writing. Some of the best writing.
Wow, what good writing. Everything halted. Everyone's world stopped. Rome is spinning out of control. He's like, what? No, stop saying he's dead. Stop that. Stop saying that. We don't even know. We don't have any confirmation. I mean, like, can we get a fucking medical person on board or something? Like, until then, I don't even want y'all to say that. Everybody's like, oh, okay, Rome. All right. Maybe you should just sit down and relax. And he's like, no. Maybe y'all should stop saying my dad is dead. How about that, huh? You ever thought about that, huh? It's like, oh, okay. All right, Rome. And then Shiv is like, y'all motherfuckers didn't even come get me.
Right.
And then it's like, but we did. But it was crazy. We didn't even know.
Right.
And then now she feel like shit because Tom called her first.
Right.
And she banged on him twice.
Yeah, she didn't answer.
Because of everything she has going on, which we'll get to. Mm-hmm. I'm glad I'm glad Logan is finally gone. It's about damn time. I mean, how long we was going to wait for this dude to die? Like, I know this is loosely based on Foxx. What's his name?
Rupert Murdoch.
Rupert Murdoch?
But that's the beauty of Murdoch's story is that Murdoch has not died.
Right.
As old as, and he has had
all these health scares. Yeah.
Health scares and freak accidents.
Yes. And so
he has not died.
And that's what this is loosely based on. We all know that. And so, cool. But dude, like, the show's called Succession. Like, and this is the last season. Now, if you said, hey, Succession is going to be 10 seasons, or we don't know when Succession is ending, like a lot of shows. Until 6, 5, 7 seasons in, it's like, oh, next season will be the last season. There's only 4 seasons.
Right.
Well, then get this motherfucker out.
Well, right, he had to die in order for the show to end.
Or step down finally. But
he was never going to step down.
And right, so
He
we
was never
knew
gonna step down.
after he stepped on the boxes
I just didn't know. It
and
was
made
gonna
his
be
little
episode
announcement,
3.
you know, that Tom helped him step on the boxes.
Yeah. I just didn't know it was going to be episode 3. I was shocked
Yeah,
that it was
rightfully so.
episode 3. Which is fine, because I think it gives room for a lot more story that maybe we wouldn't get if it had happened at the end of the season.
Right.
So I'm okay with it, but also devastated because, oh my gosh, like what? It was so traumatic watching them watching them try to figure it out and navigate it. And, you know, Kendall is a lot of things, but Kendall had a clear head.
Yes, he did.
Once the initial shock was over, Kendall was like, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do that.
And he said the most important piece that got the other 2 siblings to snap into the correct mode, the correct line of focus, which was whatever we do today and for the next 48 hours will go down in history as what we did immediately when our dad died. And everybody was like, yeah, but
yeah,
right, he's
this
right.
needs to be handled a certain way.
We have to do this the right way.
Yeah. So
And immediately it went right back to chess moves, kids.
Yep. So that was episode 3.
Yep, that was episode 3.
Episode 4 is kind of the aftermath. It's like they're still, now Logan has been moved off the plane. He's officially been pronounced dead.
That's how 3 ends.
Yeah.
And then Tom leaves with Shiv.
Right.
She summons him. And Ken is just like there, confused and processing. And the only one who really put his heart on his sleeve, who been putting his heart on his sleeve, which you said last episode, is Rome.
Yeah.
And Roman goes and he rides off with Dad and helps put Dad in the ambulance, and you see him there and crying and red-faced and everything.
Well, and I think kind of what I was saying with the first couple of episodes, Rome is interesting because he kind of came in. I mean, Kendall was working with the company for a very long time.
Yeah.
So it was Kendall's assumption that he would be successor, right? Like Kendall didn't think, when we first met Kendall, he didn't think he would have to work as hard as he did to become the successor. And then Shiv was kind of the one who was on the outside of the company.
Yep.
But at least it seemed at first like her father respected her and thought that she could be great.
Right.
Rome was the one who was kind of, you know, still just
Puttering about.
floating around and having a good time. And I think that for Rome, his dad had started to gain some level of respect for him because he started taking the business seriously. He went through the management program, even though, you know, even though he didn't want to, and they very much made it look like it was bullshit.
Yep.
And he did all of that. He got involved. He did the COO thing and whatever. So I could understand why, you know, if you think that you're being looked at as a goofball for so long and then finally someone starts to respect you, you know, it kind of could send you into a tailspin.
Yeah.
Like you, and maybe feel like in some ways you didn't get enough time.
Right. And
You know?
like we said last pod, Rome has always been the one who's seeking Dad's approval.
Right.
Like, always seeking. Where others are like, oh, in this moment I'd like Dad to give me a nod. In that moment I'd like, Rome is always like, all right, can you pat me on the head, Dad?
Yeah.
You scratch my belly, Dad? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, so we kind of see them figuring things out. Everybody's scattering around. Marsha gets reintroduced.
Yep.
She comes back, which she...
And everyone shows up and they're like, yeah, but Oh,
Everybody's
Marsha.
like, Marsha's here.
Oh, hey.
Marsha's here. I thought it
here.
was hilarious when Marsha was like, we spoke every morning and every night. And then they were like, oh, did you? And she goes, we had intimate conversations every morning and every night. And I was, oh no, she said every night. And I was like, is she talking about phone sex?
And I would just like to say, that's cap, Your Honor.
It doesn't matter if he's not there to defend himself. So we just have to believe that Marsha was calling Logan at night
For intimate moments.
for phone sex.
Yep.
Which I think is hilarious. I thought that was so funny.
It's
I
clearly
thought that
bullshit.
I thought that was so funny.
It was.
But yeah, so Marsha.
And then who she say that to? Shiv? She said to one of the kids. It was Shiv,
Yeah,
no?
I think it was Shiv.
To say that to Shiv is wild. Can you imagine
Well,
your
her
dad?
and Shiv
Can you
always
imagine
had
like
issues.
your dad passes and you go to the crib to like, you know, do all the things, and then his estranged wife is like, "No, we was having phone sex every night." It's like, nigga,
Well,
what are you doing?
If I'm not mistaken, her and Shiv always had issues, so that was kind of a way to dig at Shiv a little bit.
So weird.
Yeah, but
Like if my pops passes, I don't want my fake stepmom who he's not really with to be like, yeah, no, me and dad was having mad phone sex all the time. All the time. I'd be like,
Oh
what's
my
wrong with you?
gosh.
Somebody get her out of here. But you can't get her out of here because apparently it's her house.
Right. So yeah, episode 4 was really interesting because it was just like they're in this transitional period several hours after it happened.
A day later.
A day later. And they're trying to figure certain things out. They still have this deal on the table that has to be dealt with.
Yep.
And it kind of, I feel like episode 4 was kind of setting up the building blocks for now we're stepping into a different stage of the season.
Yep. You see the teams begin to divide. You got the old guard and Tom, and then you got the kids.
And then you got Greg.
I'm about to say, and then Greg is just...
Wherever the wind blows it blows him. Like he is like, I want to be a disgusting brother, but also I want to be on the right side of this. And whoever is on the correct side of this,
right.
That is where I need to be.
If that's Marsha, what's the name? Marsha, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if that's Marsha, cool.
Was
If that's the kids, cool. If that's the old guard, cool.
Who told Tom he was fucked?
The old guard. When
It
they
was
were
Frank,
having
right?
No,
Frank?
the other one. The other guy, I can't remember his
always
name.
forget his
Frank
name.
is the one that was cool with Kendall in season 1 and trying to like mentor him.
Yeah.
It's the other old dude.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah. He was like, you're
Because
fucked.
they were having a conversation about like, all right, if this group of people has to select someone, who's it looking like?
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody was kind of giving their little, you know, reason it should be me.
Right.
And then niggas was like, yeah, no, Tom, you're not bad.
Right.
But because of these reasons, some would say you're fucked.
Right. And Jerry got fired
And nobody knows.
in season 2, and the only person who
Season
knows...
2?
I'm
Episode
sorry,
2.
in episode 2. And Rome is the only person who knows because his dad
Rome
made him do
and
it.
Tom.
Oh, Tom knew?
Tom asked him, remember? At one point before Logan dies, early in the episode, before he speaks to Jerry, Tom calls him and asks, hey, the old man wants to know, did you do it yet?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So they're the only ones who know. So Jerry kind of just walks back into the room and
Right.
starts working like nothing ever happened, which I think is really interesting. And I wonder if that's going to come up later.
Possibly.
Also, Jerry, I was looking at Jerry the last couple of episodes. Jerry looked like she did a little something extra with her hair.
The suits.
She's been wearing more jewelry. Her suits have been a lot nicer. I'm like,
I think Jerry is what we call in the hood stunning on these hoes.
that's what it is.
I think Jerry is like, oh, y'all fired me. But now you need me.
Right.
And I have like power on the board.
And not only that,
Watch me
I have a
work.
sexual harassment lawsuit waiting to happen.
In my back pocket if
Yeah,
I need to.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
She's like, y'all not gonna get rid of me that easily.
Now watch me work.
Listen, and Jerry's always been the smartest one out of the bunch.
Yo, Jerry's one of my favorite characters.
Jerry has always been the smartest one out of the bunch. I don't care what anybody says.
They'd be like, what you think, Jerry? She's like, well, from a legal standpoint.
Right, Jerry always has, she knows exactly what the answer is at any given time. Yep. When everybody else starts freaking out, like in episode 5, when everybody starts freaking out, she's like, oh no, don't freak out. This is just a formality. And she starts reading off the information and whatever, like, cool as a cucumber. And I love that about her. I really do. Because I feel like, you know, she could have been a good CEO. She could have been a good CEO. But we'll see where she lands. I think Jerry is going to be just fine by the end of the season.
I've never questioned if Jerry was going to be all right.
The only thing I could think of outside of like continuing to work for the company under whoever is going to be there is Jerry being like, you know what, fuck this. I want to go and live my life and, you know, like live on an island somewhere. Or,
that's what the other guy said. Not Frank, the other dude. The same one, we can't remember his name.
Yeah.
He's like, listen, this buyout shit, I just want to get paid enough to go out with my package.
Right.
I just care about my package.
Yeah.
The rest of the shit, I don't care about.
Yeah. Yeah, like go live in Vermont or somewhere, like someplace beautiful and just, you know, move on with life.
That's it.
Start a new life. So by episode 5 though.
Yeah. So we skipped a lot of episode 4 because during that funeral gathering service situation, they find a piece of paper in the vault, in the safe, which has got some scribbles and some addendums and some remixes. And part of that is who gets what. That's how we found out Marsha's keeping the house, which apparently her and Connor hand shook on. Some super old school. She's like, I'm looking for like 60 to 70 million.
Connor is a clown. Connor is a clown. And just to be clear, this was not the funeral. This was more like a wake that they had at the house. Mm-hmm. The funeral is coming because...
Oh, okay.
Because we get to that in episode 5 where Connor ends up... I know we're jumping around, but Connor ends up having to be the one to be involved in the funeral arrangements with Marsha while the rest of the kids go deal with business.
Right.
So... I'm assuming we're going to be a part of the funeral in some way.
Probably the end of the season.
Yeah, but we haven't gotten to the funeral yet. So you're right. There was a gathering at the house, but he's a buffoon. He's
like, so what we talking like? So what you feel like 63? She's like 63, 63 right now.
She was like, all I want is my millions. I'm not.
I know it's a joke. I'm saying that's what she did.
I know.
Chris, you see what I be talking about?
Like, you know.
You see what I be talking about? This is between me and Chris. You just keep embarrassing me on camera. Don't worry. It's good.
Anyway.
Yeah. So they find the piece of paper. It's got scribbles and pencil marks. No one knows when this was written, but it wasn't given to the lawyers or nothing. And so the long story short is on the paper it says the successor should be Yawn Fest. No, it should be Kendall Roy. And so Ken gets all in his feelings while everyone else is like, this shit don't matter. This shit old as hell. We don't know what this means. And then Shiva's like, let me see this though. Let me see. But are these underlines or are these cross outs?
Right. And then when you look
what
at the paper.
What does this shit even mean?
When you looked at the paper, it was an underline and a cross out. And I was like, all right. Because they were able to place when the document was typed up, allegedly, but they have no idea when the scribbles came.
And the scribbles are in pencil.
Right.
And then the funniest part to me is everybody's trying to get their power plays on.
Yeah.
Ken is trying to get people to push that it should be him. You know, Dad said it, so there's really nothing to talk about. Let's just tell the board. And then
Greg.
Right.
Greg
I was trying to get there, but yeah. They're like, somebody comes and gets Greg. He's like, me in there? You want me to go? They want me? Oh, you sure? It's like, is Tom's not in there though? I was like, oh, okay. And he goes in and he Scooby-Doo's inside. And they're like, well, Greg, it probably doesn't even mean anything. Because it's in pencil, but we just want to let you know that on this pice of paper, your name is there with some shit that you should get. And he's like,
but all it was a question mark.
Right, it was a question mark. So it's like camera, Greg, question mark. And he's like, oh, can I see? Can I see? No, because no, it's me on the paper. So when do we think that this happened? Because Greg is like trying to get his shit off.
He's trying to make sure that he don't get left behind. He's not going back to that mascot costume. Remember when he threw up in that mascot costume? He is not trying to go back there.
Nope.
To season 1 Greg. I just think it's funny that he keeps going up to the siblings and going, not Connor, but he keeps going up to the 3.
In episode 5.
And he's like, we're the
quad.
We're the quad squad. And they're like, what the fuck? Why the fuck are you here?
Right.
He's like, anything you guys need?
Right.
You guys need to bounce an idea off of me.
Right.
You
I'm tapped in.
I'm tapped in. I know what's going on. I can help. Greg is just making sure he's not getting left behind.
And Tom is trying to do the same thing.
Greg don't have a good relationship with
Tom is
Granddad
doing the same
anymore,
shit.
so he's trying to make sure that he shores up his money.
Because the disgusting brothers are hanging in the balance.
Listen,
that's why the disgusting brothers have no one to cling to.
I mean, and Greg is in a better position than okay, Tom is in a decent position, but Greg. When I say Greg is in up to episode 4, Greg is in a better position than Tom because
everyone's
Shiv
like
and Tom are on the outs.
Yeah,
he chose which direction he wanted to go in, and then Greg is still family, even though they think Greg is an idiot, but. The good thing about Greg is that Greg doesn't make enemies.
No.
So.
He just slimes.
Right. So there is an opportunity for people to have Greg's back.
Yeah.
Will they or won't they is a different question, but he hasn't made any enemies out of anyone. So he can kind of float around, and they kind of, they usually get to a point where they allow him in at least
to do some tiny shit.
Right.
Like episode 5. When Ken is like, all right, yeah, you know what? Here, you're going to get a phone call on this phone.
Right. Just do this.
This is what you're going to say, which is the truth.
Right.
You're going to tell them the truth.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, the quad. The quad.
The quad.
The quad. Yeah, no, I can do that. The quad squad. I got you. The truth. Yeah, nobody's happy here. Got it.
Yo, hilarious.
Okay.
Hilarious.
So episode 5 is back to Succession now.
Oh, yeah.
Now everyone is playing chess. Everyone is undermining each other. Everyone is trying to make moves. It is full on Succession. And they remind us that because they say fuck off about 22 times this episode. Yeah. Yeah. And so they're like, okay, that shit was cool. Now we're going to get back to the shits. And they're back to the shits.
In Switzerland.
Ken is making moves. Shiv is making moves. The old guard. Moves. Well, we didn't know that till the end, but yeah. Right. So the brothers try to play and make a play and leave Shiv out. Shiv makes her own play and leaves the brothers out.
Right, and they have no idea. They think that they're the ones who brokered this amazing deal, and everybody is happy and excited on the plane. And honestly, they don't feel good about it.
Well, because they didn't want to broker a deal. They were trying to do whatever they could to push Homeboy away. And get rid of the deal. Right. Completely, because that was Ken's idea. And then Rome is like, yeah, no, you're right. I fuck with it.
But
let's do it.
But they still end up looking good at the end.
Oh, well, Shiv did her mastermind shit. Shiv made it look like she took care of everybody.
Everybody she cared about.
Well, you mean it in a good way. I meant it in a bad way.
Oh.
Shiv,
I don't think it's bad at all.
Well, she got rid of a bunch of the old guard.
Right, that's why I said she took care of everybody she cared about.
Got it.
She took care of her brothers.
She took care of her brothers. She made them look good.
For better or for worse.
They look great. They don't like it.
They don't like it,
but to the world, it looks like wow.
Right. And that's going to be good for them moving forward as CEOs or whatever capacity.
Whatever it is they do.
They end up in. They look good right now. And she did that. She took care of Tom.
She took care of Tom.
She took care of Carolina.
But let's just pause for a minute. You expected her to do that for Tom?
Yes.
I did not.
Shiv
is being smart because she knows she's pregnant.
Right.
She knows she has not told Tom. At least we haven't seen her tell Tom.
No, and I think Tom.
And it seems like seems like he's oblivious.
Right.
And she knows. All right, we about to. You know what? I gotta get my shit together because now I got a kid coming.
Also, I think that Shiv.
She feels outed.
Yes, she feels like she's on the outside, and I think this is her way of kind of regaining control.
Of course.
But Also, when it comes to Tom, I don't think that Shiv ever thought that Tom would betray her.
Of course
and
not.
I don't think she ever thought that Tom would want to leave her.
Of course
So I think in a weird, I don't really love this man kind of way, I think that Shiv also was always going to find a way to stay connected to Tom.
Well, you hit it on the head. She gained back control.
Right. And
Because now she's in control of Tom again. He doesn't know it yet.
I mean,
But she's in
figuring
control
it
of
out.
Tom.
Yeah.
She's in control of the deal.
Because now
She's in control of a lot of shit.
He'll continue to dote on her, especially when he finds out she's pregnant.
Absolutely.
He'll continue to take care of things and make sure she's okay.
And I don't think they're gonna have to do much because at the end of the episode, she's like, "Yo, what's up? You want to get dinner when we land?"
Right. So
So
she's
she probably
pulling the
about to get right back on her on their House of Cards shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's exactly what's gonna happen. I think she likes having Tom where she has him because the reality of the situation is she probably doesn't want to be lonely.
And she told Tom to get rid of Sid.
Right.
She's like, handle that.
Yeah.
Get rid of Sid. He's
Why?
like, oh, me? Yeah, you. Okay. After he said okay, she's like, by the way, you want to grab dinner tonight when we land?
Yep. Yeah. So, she has a lot of the dad in her when it comes to those types of moves.
I think they all do in different ways.
Yeah.
I think like any familial relationship, we pick up different things from our parents. And I think we see that in this moment.
Yeah.
In this season.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it throughout, but I think in this season they're starting to show us who's more like him in what ways.
Yeah. I agree with that. But yeah, just listen. I can't believe episode 5 is over. I just feel like it's going so fast now.
We're about halfway through the season, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because it's usually, 12 episodes?
Something like that.
We're approaching the
9 and
halfway
12.
mark.
Yeah, so it's like I'm anxious to see how it plays out, but I'm also like, okay, let's take our time and get through it. But yeah, that was episodes 3 through 5 of Succession.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. Madsen or whatever his name is, that guy is weird. In a lot of ways.
The half liters of blood?
That's weird.
That was some nasty shit that he
And it
was
made a
talking-
lot of sense why Shorty ain't want nothing to do with him when they were
wanted-
talking.
Right, she didn't want anything to do with him. And that's why Carolina stayed on.
Yep.
So Carolina could move right into the spot and take care of things, clean things up.
Yep. And Jerry wasn't going nowhere.
No, of course not. And I wouldn't get rid of Jerry.
No. And everyone's like, but Tom got to be on the list. If we're all getting cut, how could Tom not be on the list?
Right.
And that's when it was like, oh, so then this was Shiv.
This was Shiv, yeah. Yeah, that's what made it very
Because
obvious.
we watched it right before we potted, and we both looked at each other and was like, oh, Shiv.
Yeah, Shiv did this. Shiv did this. But yeah, so curious to see what happens next.
Same.
It looks like Kendall has to make public remarks next week. And I'm curious about that because they even said it in the trailer for next week that Kendall loves to go rogue when he has to get on stage in front of a group of people. So we'll see what happens and if he continues to protect himself and his siblings. Because
We'll see.
we're in a weird spot right now. Something that we've never seen them do before. We've seen them bond like in a more casual setting.
Right.
But we've never really seen them work together for the company before, all three of them. So this is really interesting. I like that they've come together and they're trying to help each other. Even though they still have their little side things going on, they're still, for the most part, like, I was really surprised that the boys were like, we need to talk to Shiv about this. And they said that multiple times. In the last couple of episodes, they've been trying to be very above board about including their sister.
Yes,
especially because she couldn't be the third CEO, and they made that very clear that that wouldn't make sense. But they're really trying to hold up their end of the bargain.
Except in that one moment.
Right, where they wanted to tank the deal. Yeah.
It's interesting. I love how layered the show is, how sneaky everybody is, all of the quote-unquote Sith moves, like I said last episode. I love it. Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens as everyone is doing their own small, meticulous chess games, chess moves.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a lot of strategery involved.
A lot of strategery. A lot of it.
And I also want to see what's going to blow up in whose face, because I refuse to believe that in the next 6 or 7 episodes, no one's plan is going to unfold and blow up in their face.
No. And I don't think
that's a part of every season of Succession.
Yeah, and I don't really think the 3 of them ride off into the sunset at the end.
No.
I don't think that's how that will work. I think there will be one person at the top at the end.
Well, I told you, but I didn't say it here. There was a moment when Tom tried to give fake loyalty to Ken and say like, hey man, whatever you need, you know I'm here. He's groveling. And Ken said, Tom, I like you. Good luck. At that moment of episode 4, I felt like Tom's going to be the guy.
We'll see.
Because after he said that, they didn't show Ken going upstairs. It just stood on Tom for a hot minute. And Tom just like thinking. Yeah. And that moment made me feel like, all right, it's going to be Tom.
We'll see. I mean, I said
you said it. You definitely said
it before.
You definitely said it.
At this point, after 5 episodes, I don't even know. I have no idea how it's going to end, but I'm very curious to see what happens. So, and I do think that Tom will end up landing somewhere that maybe either we didn't expect or somewhere pretty high up. So,
well, if Sid is getting fired, he's already getting a promotion.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's him and Sid are like right neck and neck.
Yeah.
And so in some episodes in the past, it looks like he's in charge. Other ones, it looks like she's in charge. Mm-hmm. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
All right, that is our Succession episode 3, 4, and 5 recap, thoughts, predictions. We are wrapping it up. We are out of here. Thank you for being here. Yep. Thank you for tuning in, whether you are watching or listening. And that's it. We out. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye.